Are you aware that the sugars in your breast milk don't just feed your baby? They continue shaping your toddler's gut, brain, and immune system well after the first birthday?
Welcome to Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. Stay informed with quick, easy-to-listen summaries of our latest articles, perfect for when you're on the go. No reading required. Subscribe for free at mercola.com for the latest health insights.
Hello, and welcome to Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. I'm Ethan Foster. Today we're exploring how human milk oligosaccharides, HMOs, remain abundant beyond 12 months, and what that means for your child's microbiome, cognition, and long-term resilience.
I'm Alara Sky. You'll hear what a systematic review and meta-analysis found about HMO levels across the second year, why certain sugars like 3-fucosyllactose rise over time, how sialilated HMOs support learning, and how myo-inositol in breast milk boosts synapse formation. We'll also cover clear, practical steps you can take to keep your milk as nourishing as possible.
Let's start with the headline. HMOs are complex sugars that don't get digested for energy. They move intact to your child's colon, where they feed beneficial bacteria, strengthen defenses, and support healthy brain and immune development. They're the third most abundant solid in breast milk, after lactose and lipids, so their ongoing presence matters for development well past infancy.
A recent review in Frontiers in Pediatrics looked specifically at HMOs at or after 12 months. 13 studies with 4,786 milk samples standardized results into grams per liter so you could compare across methods. Across all time points, 42 HMOs appeared at least once, but 6 dominated in 10 or more studies. 2'-fucosyllactose, 3-fucosyllactose, lacto-N-tetriose, lacto-N-neotetriose, 3'-sialilactose, and 6'-sialilactose. Together, those 6 accounted for over 70% of the HMO pool at every stage.
The total HMO picture shifts with time. From colostrum at 7.72 grams per liter, levels declined to 5.34 grams per liter by 12 months. Then between 13 and 24 months, reported concentrations averaged 8.47 grams per liter, with a range of 7.2 to 10.1 grams per liter. Even though later data drew on fewer samples, the takeaway is clear. Breast milk continues delivering substantial HMOs into toddlerhood.
Individual sugars follow distinct paths. 2'-fucosyllactose remains the most abundant, about 3 grams per liter in colostrum and still higher than 3'-fucosyllactose at 12 months, 1.59 versus 1.45 grams per liter. What stands out is that 3-fucosyllactose rises steadily, almost quadrupling from 0.38 grams per liter in colostrum to 1.45 grams per liter at 1 year. Lacto-N-tetriose and lacto-N-neotetriose decline, 6'-sialilactose drops sharply, and 3'-sialilactose stays relatively stable. The total stays meaningful, but the balance evolves as your child grows.
Why does that matter to you? HMOs help beneficial bifidobacterium thrive and drive the production of short-chain fatty acids like butyrate. That supports your intestinal barrier, keeps inflammation in check, and discourages harmful microbes. Fucosylated HMOs can also act as decoys for pathogens such as Campylobacter jejuni and Pseudomonas aeruginosa, blocking attachment and lowering infection risk during a vulnerable stage.
There's also a brain connection. By shaping the gut-brain axis, HMOs encourage metabolites that influence neurotransmitters and protect developing neurons. Sialilated HMOs deliver sialic acid, which contributes to synapse formation and myelination, processes essential for memory, learning, and communication. Exposure to specific HMOs, including 2'-fucosyllactose and 6'-sialilactose, has been associated with improved cognitive, motor, and language scores in infancy, and higher exposure to 30-sialilactose has been linked with better early learning by 10 months.
Immune training is another layer. HMOs help balance T, H1, and Th2, signaling and reduce inflammatory cytokines. That early shaping supports immune tolerance and is linked with lower rates of respiratory and gastrointestinal infections, and reduce medication use in infants receiving HMOs. The persistence of core HMOs beyond the first year suggests continued support for balanced responses as your toddler meets new challenges.
There are potential long-term effects, too. By sculpting the microbiome and tempering inflammation, HMOs may influence metabolic programming with implications for obesity, type 2 diabetes, and allergic disease. Evidence is still building, but the direction points to benefits that extend well beyond immediate growth and defense.
Breast milk offers more than HMOs. Myo-inositol, a small cyclic sugar, appears at especially high levels early in life, then declines along a consistent trajectory seen in samples from Cincinnati, Mexico City, and Shanghai. In cell and tissue models, myo-inositol increases synapse abundance and strengthens connectivity, aligning with the early surge in synapse formation before later refinement. That pattern underscores how your milk adapts to developmental needs.
If you're wondering how to keep your milk as nourishing as possible, there are concrete steps. The World Health Organization recommends exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months, then continued breastfeeding with complementary foods up to 2 years or longer. If breastfeeding isn't possible, screened donor milk is the next best option. Introducing formula too early can disrupt gut health and blunt many breastfeeding benefits.
Your own nutrition influences milk composition. Emphasize whole, nutrient-dense foods and avoid seed oils and excess omega-6 fats. Use stable saturated fat sources such as grass-fed butter, tallow, and ghee. It also helps to eat enough carbohydrates, around 250 grams per day for most adults, to avoid metabolic stress that could reduce milk supply. When you nourish yourself, you sustain your baby.
Medications matter. Unless truly necessary, avoid antibiotics during the first year because they harm beneficial bacteria and may slow microbiome development. Common drugs like acetaminophen and reflux medications can disturb gut balance and are best used cautiously. Review all prescriptions and over-the-counter products with a trusted provider, including those you take while nursing, because some can alter milk composition.
Environmental exposures deserve attention. Polyfluoroalkyl substances, PFAS, have been detected in breast milk and can pass from mother to infant. You can reduce contact by limiting non-stick cookware, certain food packaging, and water-resistant fabrics that may contain these chemicals, and by choosing safer alternatives where possible. Lowering your overall burden helps limit what appears in milk.
If continued breastfeeding isn't possible after the first year, there are alternatives that still support development. Donor milk provides HMOs in their natural matrix. When donor milk isn't available, HMO supplemented formulas that include 2'-fucosilactose and lacto-N-neotetriose offer some of the same core sugars identified as dominant through toddlerhood. A carefully prepared homemade formula is another option to avoid added sugars and processed ingredients found in many commercial brands.
To pull this together, HMOs remain abundant beyond 12 months, with 6 core sugars accounting for more than 70% of the pool and 3-fucosilactose rising across the first year. These compounds continue to feed beneficial microbes, deter pathogens, shape immune responses, and deliver building blocks that support your child's brain. Alongside HMOs, myo-inositol in breast milk boosts synapses and connectivity during a critical window.
Here's today's challenge. If you're currently nursing, choose one action you can take this week that aligns with what you've heard. Maintain exclusive breastfeeding if you're within 6 months. Plan for continued nursing alongside solids toward 2 years. Review your kitchen and personal care items to lower PFAS exposure, or evaluate your diet to avoid seed oils and support adequate whole food carbohydrates. If breastfeeding isn't feasible, explore screened donor milk, or an HMO supplemented option that includes 2'-fucosilactose and lacto-N-neotetriose.
Thank you for watching Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe now and click the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.